everybody? It's your girl Micca, and you're watching the Red Cup Podcast, where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Micca, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. What's going on, everybody, today? Let me see who's in the chat. Happy Tuesday. What's going on, your car? What's going on, War Peace? What's going on, Black TV? What's going on, man? Y'all had a funny show today. Like, I was over there dying. And then when 2K called me, I was like, but y'all had a great show. What's going on? What's going on, Carol? Hi from New Jersey. What's going on, you guys? What's going on, Dwayne? What's going on, Mr. Robinson? I am great, thank you. What's going on, Sugar Shane? What's going on, you guys? I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. It has been a great week so far. I just want to give a few announcements. So I keep forgetting about the people that do help me and my platform through Cash App, okay? Because I don't physically see it all the time. So I want to thank Mike That Dude, all right? Mike That Dude has always supported. So I do want to thank Mike That Dude. Like I just didn't want to miss it this time. So I had to write it down. But I want to thank Mike That Dude. So thank you very, very much. And to the young lady that won the cup, my mug, my bald-headed reasoning mug last week, I have sent it off. So you should be receiving it sometime this week. Okay. So you guys, thank you very much. All right. And I'll have more contests like that because I'm actually going to come out with a lot of different merch and we're going to be doing some new things. So I just wanted to give you guys that little bit of update. So thank you to everybody. All right, you guys. So I want to go ahead and get started. All right. Now, I wanted to start out with an update. And the update I want to start out with is with Miss LaMonica. Okay. So if you guys don't know who LaMonica is the representative from New Jersey that was down there fighting, you know who, down there fighting ICE officers. All right. And LaMonica decided that, you know, she was going to go down there and be brolic and talk and, you know, push and shove. And now she's possibly catching a case. All right. And so her real name is LaMonica McGavin. All right. And she decided that she was going to go on CNN and tell her side. So I want you guys to get into this because LaMonica, you know, is playing the victim. Now, Monica said, y'all are doing too much. All right. So I want you guys to go ahead and get into this. Here we go.
Would you have done anything differently?
No, I would not have. Once again, we showed up there to do a job, Kate. We were there for an oversight visit. We have done this before. You know, me, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, and Congressman Rob Menendez was just at a facility just a couple of weeks ago, not too far from this location, where we had an oversight visit, and we were a little bit delayed, but not, you know, confronted or was in the middle of a chaos to do so. I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, you know, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, you know, what Republicans are saying, like, you know, about us, you know, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight visit, which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour. You know, we were all of this, we broke in, we assaulted people, all of these things that, you know, Haba is saying and Republicans are saying.
Congresswoman, you are now facing a federal charge, though. Are you afraid of what's going to transpire now?
I mean, it's super unfortunate, Kate, that we have come to this point, you know, in America, that this is what we see happening to leaders who are trying to do their jobs. Rather, it's the mayor of the largest city, rather it's a judge. You know, we've seen this administration come after and attack, you know, leaders for doing their jobs. It's political intimidation, and I will not be intimidated. I expect to continue to do my job.
You guys, since when does Congress, okay, let alone Democratic Congress, do their job? All right. What she's, over here talking about is the fact that she was arrested for assaulting a federal law enforcement officer. Okay. And she doesn't like that she's being charged, because a lot of them, because they are Congress, members, they think that they are above the law. For some reason, they forget that they work for us. For some reason, they forget that they work for the people and they're bound by the same rules. Like, they forget all of that. And so she thinks that she doesn't have to abide by any of that. And that's why she's on CNN, pretty much sounding like the victim, when it's far from it. If you guys have saw that video, this woman definitely was shoving and pushing, and the officer was not even looking her way. So she definitely deserves it, because if anybody else would have done this on a regular day, they would be locked up in jail. They wouldn't even be on, CNN, aka Kind News Network, aka China News Network. All right. Like, they kind of report the news over there, kind of. So here's the thing. Miss LaMonica here wants to go ahead and say that, this is like lawfare. This is, everybody coming at Democratic congressmen who want to go do their jobs. Since when have you seen them out there in New Jersey? Carol, let me know. Do you see any of these people out there in New Jersey? I've never seen it. I've never seen them. So it just goes to show you that these people, they like to say, hey, yeah, we're doing something, but they're not doing anything. They're doing absolutely nothing. All right. And LaMonica is no different. Okay. She's one of those grandstanding Democrats. And then she said they gave her a tour. Well, that's what they told you to do anyway. They told you to come back. They told you to plan a tour, and we'll give you a tour. You never seen them, Carol? Exactly. So yeah, I'm not worried about it. So you guys, that's the update on Miss LaMonica. She is being charged federally. Oh well, she gets what she gets. All right, but I just wanted to give you guys that quick update. Now, I want to move on to something funny. Now, you guys know that I'm on different podcasts and I talk about different things. And one of the things I talk about that I think has ruined America, but definitely has ruined women, is feminism. However, I was watching some clips on X and I found this clip from the Whatever podcast. And when I tell you, whoever this man is, he drugged this woman. He drugged this woman because she didn't have the facts. All right. Now, when you want to call yourself debating, you can't just debate with your feelings. Okay. You have to come with the facts. And this lady here did not have the facts. All right. So I want you guys to go ahead and see what this lady thought she was going to do on the Whatever podcast and got checked. All right, here we go.
That women didn't have the right to vote until 1920. Women couldn't open a bank account in the United States until 1974.
When did men get the right to vote?
Oh, okay, I know this is exactly what you were talking about. This is what you're known for, is like getting people on a technicality that we don't historically know. But the answer to that is no. The answer to that
is no. The answer is that's no.
No, the answer to that is the fact that in 1920, everyone was given the right to vote, but there were still barriers to vote for people of color.
When did men get the right to vote?
The right to vote was guaranteed to all people in 1920, according to the 19th Amendment.
Before 1920, were all men allowed to vote?
No.
Okay, great.
They weren't.
And then even when men's
because
suffrage
of white
was passed,
supremacy and because our system was not founded equally.
Are you aware that men only got any rights to vote about a decade, roughly, before women?
That is not true. Men have been making, the founding fathers were all men, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
What does that have to do with the right to vote?
The right to vote was historically withheld from men of color. It was a
It was also withheld from the general population.
Do not cut me off. Do not cut me off. I am in the middle of speaking.
I don't care if you're in the middle of speaking. You're in the middle of a debate.
The right to vote.
You don't have your TikTok mute button, sweetheart?
I
If
will
we
not be
can-
speaking anymore until you have a
look.
conversation with him.
Well, look,
Mute button.
if we can, for both people, if we can allow each other to finish, even if you want to jump in, just let the other person finish speaking. If somebody's going on a monologue and they're filibustering, I'll try to get them to wrap up. But just if they're making a point, just try to let them finish.
No, I did not go to school for 4 years and build a platform to be talked to like this. So I will be walking away from the microphone right now. And I would encourage you to get your guest under control. I'm going to take 2 minutes so you can ask him questions if you'd like. And I will be right back.
Because you run the show.
I just won't be back. And we already
I don't give a shit. What do I care? I'm here to have a debate, not listen to your whining. Do you want to have a debate or not?
The cameraman is diabolical. Okay. Like, you cannot make this up. The cameraman is diabolical. Okay. First of all, she was there for a debate, right? And then she wanted to debate politics. She wanted to debate, her feminist talking points. All right. Women can't do this. They don't have the rights to do that. Yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, we have all the rights to do whatever. And so she wanted to debate that without actually knowing the nuances of, everything else. Yes, men were the ones running the government, but you also have to remember that a lot of men were poor. A lot of men were not, aristocrats. A lot of men were not in the military at one point in time. So a lot of those things came with, the right to vote, the right to be in the process. And so that's what he was trying to, get across to her. But for some reason, it wasn't clicking. And then, she just reverts back to the, that little feminist tick that they get. It's either Trump derangement, bald-headed reasoning, feminist ticks. Like, they have all this stuff, right? Because they don't want to actually know the truth. Because then they don't have any talking points. And then she went right to that whole, I got a degree, I got a degree, I got a degree. So I thought this was hilarious, guys. You guys get down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about this, because I thought this was hilarious. And I also think it teaches, a lesson to women, because I see a lot of women doing this. They'll go and debate men or get in men's faces and say this and that. And meanwhile, they don't actually know the talking points. They don't know the history, or they only know their talking points. Right? If she would have did her homework, she would have knew who that guy was and what he was going to come with. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about the Whatever podcast. I think it's a good podcast. So I thought that was a really, 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 really good clip. Now, you guys, I want to get into Ryan Clark. So I know he has been the talk for the past day, right? Especially with what's going on with him, RG3, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. Like, I don't even know why it's a racial thing, right? It can be a competitive thing. That's fine. It's sports. But I don't know why it's a racial thing. However, it is. Now, I don't know if everyone's seen what Ryan Clark had to say, but I'm going to play what Ryan Clark had to say, and then I'm going to show you what social media dug up. I didn't know this. Maybe some of you guys know it, but I didn't know this. So I'm going to play what Ryan Clark said, and then we'll go from there. Here we go.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with.
All right. So you guys probably seen and heard that. All right. But I wanted to make that point and play that because when I tell you the internet is undefeated, the internet is undefeated. All right. Because here I am just, looking up stuff on X. And here is Ryan Clark popping up on my screen. All right. And when I say popped up on my screen, look what popped up on my screen. Look what popped up on my screen. Okay. You guys see what's on the screen? So I didn't know who this was. I'm just like, okay, I go and read it. And apparently his first child, okay, the mother is white. Like, you cannot make it up. And I said, no. Let me go and look some more. I kept looking and I found that that's all I saw. I mean, multiple pictures. I said, that's crazy. He just did that whole dialogue, okay, about white people and white women sitting in the back and, not understanding Black women and all of this other stuff. Mind you, RG3 has, mixed race girls, okay? So they're going to know their white side and they're going to know their Black side. So I don't understand, but okay. But yet, here's this. So I'm just like, the hypocrisy is deep for me. All right. This is very deep. This is very deep. I see some of y'all in the chat. Did you guys know this? What's going on, Van Pass? What's going on, Car? And Dr. Umar answers the chat. Eric Watson. Did you guys know this? I did not know this, not at all. What's going on, Artifacts? I did not know this at all. I never knew it. Right? And, I'm not into basketball at all, really. I'm more of a football, soccer, UFC. I'll watch a little bit. I'm more that type of girl. I'm not a basketball fan. For some reason, I just fall asleep. However, I do think some of the times Angel Reese and company, and definitely Caitlin Clark, are interesting. I say keep the little beef going. I mean, it works. However, I just find it so hypocritical because you also date white women, and there's nothing wrong with dating white women. If you like white women, there's nothing wrong with dating Black women if you like Black women. However, you made that whole point about that man and white women, only to have a white baby mama, which means your daughter's son, whatever your first child is half white. You can't make it up. I mean, this whole racial argument is stupid in itself, okay? And I find it very, very dumb. I'm a mixed race person, and I always hate having these stupid arguments like this, right? I hate having a dumb argument. But if you're gonna do all of this, at least stand on it. Like stand on it all the time. And he couldn't. So you guys, you get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about that, because I did not know that, that was going on. Okay. I really didn't know that was going on. I truly didn't. And maybe you guys did, because you guys, y'all are into the basketball arena like that. Women's basketball, I guess. But I'm definitely not. So you guys let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Before I move on, I want to get into these super chats, you guys. So let me go ahead and pull these up. And thank you to everybody that supports the platform. I definitely appreciate it. All right. So Southeast, her voice is irritating as F. He cooked her. Hey, LFR family. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Irritating as I don't know what. All right. Next is Xavier. Caitlin Clark was standing up for her teammate, but she should have just let Bambi miss the layup. Not Bambi. Y'all are wild. But yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, I actually like the competitiveness. I like it. I don't know what everybody's mad about. I really do like the competitiveness. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I just like the violent stuff. Maybe. But I thought it was fun, but everybody made it into such a race thing. I don't understand it. I really don't. But it could be just me. But thank you, Xavier. I definitely appreciate it. $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Mr. Robinson, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. You see who? Anna Paulina, the first Mexican American Republican, is going after Megyn, the male horse. I call it Megyn the mule, but we can do this. Megyn, the male horse, she wants to prove that Megyn was lying on Tory. I hope she does. I really do. Megyn is in deep water for this. I hope Megyn goes down, because from the beginning, if you guys have, seen any of my older videos, from the beginning, I've said that woman was lying. It didn't make any sense. And I read the transcripts. So the woman was lying, but I hope she does. Okay. And I hope Ms. Ana Paulina goes ahead and do whatever she got to do. Okay. Shout out to the Republicans. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for that. Next is Yaka. Gracias. $100 super chat. I appreciate you, Yaka. Keep up the hard work, Micca. Bad chaser for life. And you know it. And you know it. And you guys, I do appreciate you so much. Y'all have been rocking with me since I was on my webcam. Okay. And I'm still, elevating to keep getting better and better and better. Like I can do videos with my eyes closed, but I really wanted to start interacting more. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do more live streams, because I have just so many thoughts and so many things I want to talk about with you guys. So sometimes the live streams are the best way to do them. But thank you, Yakar. I appreciate it. Oh, y'all are so great. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who super chatted. And thank you again to Mike That Dude, who held me down on Cash App. I appreciate you guys. All right. Let's move on to everybody's favorite woman that they like to overlook. All right. Especially when it comes to politics, Miss Stacey Abrams. All right. So Stacey Abrams here, we know she has been passed over thrice. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And she's also been passed over in her own state. Okay. Hell, Fauci got ahead more than Stacey did. But here it is after, Kamala, after Hillary Clinton, after all these people. Here it is. Stacey thinks she's going to run for governor. Well, Now she's being investigated, and it doesn't look good for her. Okay, Joe Biden gave her that $2 billion. All right, and now she's claiming that people are just coming after her, just like LaMonica. Okay, LaMonica, Stacey, Fonnie, Tiffany Henyard, they're all in the same boat. But I want you guys to hear what Stacey Abrams had to say. Okay, the actual black lady they could have picked, but they didn't want to pick because they wanted Kamala, because they didn't really want a black lady. They actually just wanted somebody they could run over. So you guys know what I'm saying. Here we go.
Let's talk a bit about Georgia and what's going on specifically in Georgia politics. The governor, Brian Kemp, signed a bill this week that outlined the Georgia General Assembly's subpoena powers. The Georgia Senate opened an investigation into you this year, alleging that a group you worked with improperly received government grants. You are, on one way, in some way, part of this group of people who are being targeted for their politics. What do you make of this?
I make of it that they are failing at their promises, and they're looking at those of us who've managed to deliver for Americans, and they're targeting us. I stand accused of helping people register to vote, helping them turn out and vote, helping make certain that families that wanted to lower their energy costs got the equipment and the support they needed. So essentially, they're mad at me for proving that democracy can deliver, and they would rather distract than actually do their jobs. This is an administration that is being supported by a complicit Congress, and they are doing their level best to distract and destroy rather than to actually deliver. And I am one of the people they've targeted. Unfortunately, what that means is that rather than us being engaged in conversations and, more importantly, in the work of serving the people, we've got to focus some of our attention on fighting against scurrilous accusations that are grounded in nothing but bad faith and, I think, fear, because we keep coming pretty close to proving to everyone that their lies cannot stand.
You guys, every time I hear Stacey, I'm just like, poor little Ting Ting. Poor little Ting Ting. Because Stacey wanted to be in that seat so bad that, Kamala ended up getting. She wanted to have that seat, and she didn't get it. She couldn't get it. They're not going, they want a puppet. All right. Now, it's not to say that Stacey isn't a puppet, but they wanted somebody that they can completely control. And of course, Stacey doesn't fit what a lot of the 92%ers want. Okay. Let's just be clear. Stacey looks exactly like that statue in NYC. Like they say that they're okay with that statue, but they really don't like that statue. They really don't like being seen a certain way. And Stacey is what they don't like being seen as. Let's just keep it 100. All right. So they use Stacey to get the black women all riled up and, their base all riled up, but they will not put Stacey in the front. And that's a fact. All right. Which is the reason why I don't like anything that's just going off of, identity politics, because this is what you get. This right here is what you get. You end up getting, looked over. All right. You end up getting I don't really like Stacey, but if I had to just go past her politics, she would be way more qualified than Kamala. Okay. But the DNC don't care who qualified. All right. They just really don't. So you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of Stacey over here saying that they're just targeting her. And this is, just another thing the Trump administration is doing to Democrats. It's so wrong. You guys let me know what you think about it, okay? All right, so now I want to move into our last little regular topic of the day before we get into our main topics. I want to get into the trash nature of Miss AOC. Okay. So we all know AOC is out there fighting the oligarchy, whatever she's doing. She's out there, fighting for democracy. She's out there fighting for freedom. Okay. Alexandria Cortez is out there doing everything she can possible for the regular worker, the regular American, the bottom of the bottom, the top of the top needs to help pay this and that and the third, all that nonsense she talks about. However, her own district, which I have reported on before, has continued to suffer. Okay, they got the red light district going on there. They got the illegal drug sales. They got the illegal migrants, immigrants, aliens, whatever, TDA. Everything that you could think about is in that district. And I've reported on it before. But now it's gotten even worse. So she's jet setting around the country, Miss Sandy, because that's her real name. Okay, Sandy and Colonel Sanders, okay, are jet setting around the country, even though they are for green energy, but they're in jet. I digress. However, let's get into this new update on AOC's crime stats in her district. Here we go.
Welcome back. The Bronx and Queens district, represented by New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has seen a 70% crime surge since she took office. That according to NYPD data. That is more than double the New York City average. Here's how AOC previously addressed the rising crime.
We are seeing these headlines about percentage increases. Now, I want to say that any amount of harm is unacceptable and too much. But I also want to make sure that this hysteria, that this doesn't drive a hysteria, and that we look at these numbers in context so that we can make responsible decisions.
New York City Council candidate Ramses Frias and Elmhurst resident Guadalupe Alvarez joins us now. So I'm going to start with you, Ramses. You know that I've been down to that district. I've interviewed women who have said, I'm afraid to walk on the street after 5, 6 o'clock at night. I've seen tricks turned at 11 a.m. She says, by the way, prostitute tricks, in case people don't know what I'm talking about, 11 a.m. inside your district. What do you say to her response that this is just hysteria?
It's not hysteria. It's a reality. The numbers are showing what exactly is happening. We have crime happening every single day here, from violent crime, prostitution, illegal street vending, you name it, and it's happening here. This has become a safe haven for criminal activity. Once they opened the borders up, everything got worse, and it continues to gradually increase, in numbers. We have problems here that she is not facing, and she is not trying to face. She just keeps on, giving this rhetoric about, oh, you don't cause hysteria, but the reality is here. People are scared. People are afraid to even go to the supermarket just because of all the criminal activity that we see in the streets.
Guadalupe, when you're talking with your friends and you guys are expressing these concerns about the state of your district and what's happening in the streets and the crime that we were just hearing about, and then you see your congresswoman jetting all over the country, sometimes in a private jet, raging against the oligarchy, whatever that is, with Bernie Sanders, how do you and your friends respond to that? How is that received in the district?
Well, to us, that's hysteria, right? Her last campaign ad on Instagram spoke about being a cynic and not giving in to the cynicism when she is, in fact, the cynic. We're just so tired. I can't speak for myself, but the community voted her in, and she has done nothing for the community. If you see what she's done since she's been Congresswoman, it's been nothing. She has not even shown to her areas of representation, and it's unfortunate that we have to suffer with the consequences.
Here's the thing. Yeah, y'all gonna have to suffer with the consequences, okay? Because Democratic voters, they don't get it. Whether they're Latino, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're black, white, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. These people do not care. They absolutely do not care. All right. The migrants, they only care about those people because they're the new, lower bottom slave class that they can, finesse for a little bit, until they wake up. All right. And so, yeah, y'all are going to have to deal with it. I can definitely see that her district was waking up because they not only voted for her, they voted for Donald Trump at the top of the ticket. And I remember when she, when AOC got on live saying, why did you guys vote for Donald Trump? Because they knew you was on that tomfoolery. That's why. They knew that. And so they were trying to protect themselves, I guess, in a little bit. That's when, the liberalism is kind of seeping out you. Because here is a woman that spends 99.999% of her time talking about, eat the rich, talking about do this, do that, give more taxes, all of this stuff. Talks about socialism, communism, all of that. Meanwhile, Miss Sandy, aka Alexandria, okay. Meanwhile, she is the exact thing that she's talking about. When she talks about, yes, I was a waitress. Yeah, you were a waitress because you wanted to be. While you were in school, you didn't have to. Miss Sandy here, she comes from money, okay? Where she grew up, it ain't the Bronx, okay? She is not J-Lo. And we know she don't be on the block because all her constituents say so. So at the end of the day, what I am saying to you guys is this woman here is definitely a fake, a fraud. And if they vote this woman back in, during the midterms, it's on them. It's on them. They get everything that they deserve. Everything that they deserve. Because again, she's jet setting around, in the jet with Bernie's friends' money. Who is Bernie's friends? I would really like to know that. Because when they said, Bernie, who's, are the billionaires giving you money to jet set around? No. This is Bernie's friends. Well, who the hell is Bernie's friends? Exactly. So you guys, you get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about, Sandy Alexandria Cortez's district and how it looks and that it has a 70% crime spike. More than the rest of NYC. That's a lot in one concentrated area. Like that is a lot. And that's because most of the criminals live over there when they were, bringing in the illegals. So you guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about that. All right, let me read this super chat. Thank you for the $5 super sticker, Rocks. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. So I see a couple of you guys just came in. Thank you for showing up, James. Thank you, Chavez. Thank you, Scoop. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Rox. Thank you, Andrea. Hey. All right. Let me see if I missed anybody. What's going on, Elisa? What's going on, Frank? Artifacts. What's going on, you guys? All right. So let's get into some main topics here. All right. So one of the main topics I want to get into is Mr. Joe Biden. Okay. For some reason, Joe Biden is, the whole media is just complicit in this. I don't care. The entire media is complicit. However, Joe Biden is the talk of the town because we all knew he was gone. He trips up the steps. And Joe Biden hasn't had a coherent thought in a long time. However, the media now, because of his diagnosis with cancer, is just saying, why do we care, right? And who else other than the Golden Girls at The View want this to go under, be swept under the rug, all right? And they're even a little upset that fellow liberal Jon Stewart had the nerve to joke about it. So I want you guys to see what the Golden Girls, aka The View with Cloudy Hostin and Joy No Heart, I want you guys to see what they had to say about Joe Biden. Here we go. Okay, so before the Golden Girls get to talking, what does she mean by should the anonymous y'all didn't have a problem with anonymous sources when it came to Donald Trump. All those anonymous sources and all those books that came out that said Donald Trump was like this, he did that, he was doing this in there, he's Hitler, he's, a brown shirt, all this nonsense. Y'all, there was not one name that they got. They got not one name. Okay. The only people that said something that you might not, well, that you did know was General Kelly, you know, people like that. But outside of that, it's always anonymous sources. That's where the whole anonymous thing came from, because people are like, why do these anonymous sources get to tell, you know, CNN and MSDNC 13 all of these things, and nobody questions who these anonymous sources are? Wall Street Journal, they get them. I mean, who are these people? And they said, oh, people don't want Donald Trump to come after them. Okay, well, they must think Joe Biden's going to do the same thing, okay? Because he does have a crime family. So with that being said, why are they complaining? They had no problem with it before, all right? And then to her last point, what does she mean by, oh, well, why does this matter? Because the man was asleep. That's why it matters. The man was asleep. Yeah, absolutely asleep. Okay? Anybody that trips upstairs, fights with sand, anybody that yells out, who's next, when you have the paperwork to present the next person, yeah, I'm going to question you. Anybody that just wanders in the rainforest, yeah, that's why it matters. Okay? Anytime I got to turn you around like we're doing piñata, yeah, it matters. But we'll let Whoopi and the same time we write a book about how your hair color is not red anymore. Okay? That's when we'll do it. Okay? Because if Joy thinks that I think she's 105 years old with, you know, gorgeous red hair, please, Joy, please. Like, stop. These women are deranged. I'm telling you, they're deranged. Every last one of them. Just deranged. So what is she talking about? And then she has, you know, Cloudy Hostin over there. Preach. This, like, y'all got to get rid of Cloudy Hostin. Cloudy Hostin gets on my everlasting nerves. Okay? That's the black, non-black, white woman, okay, that didn't know that her family were slave owners, but her mother is white, but her mother said that she was black. And this is who we're listening to. Okay? They don't care about anything that's going on. Okay? They just spew whatever. But the audience, when they came back in, you heard them laughing because they all understand. Joe Biden was done the entire time. They can fight with it. It's been that place. Ma'am, did you not see Comey? Did you not see General Kelly? No? Como? Okay. That's why they don't like what Jon Stewart said. Jon Stewart literally said, literally, you know, in my Ratchet Crockett voice, literally said, you're supposed to, you knew this already. It takes a while to write a book. Like, do these people think we're dumb? It takes a long time to write a book. What are you doing? You already knew it. So you were like, yeah, we're not going to tell it. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to pretend like Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about while we write the book, and then come back out with it. Like, Jon Stewart was absolutely 100% correct. All right. We already know all these women are mad crazy. And there is why I don't watch none of this. You get what I'm saying? Like, that was the biggest spin I've ever seen in my life. All right. We're talking about Jake Tapper, Joe Biden, okay, Kamala. We're talking about that administration. And here they come with the spin. You know, well, I don't think they were holding on to information. Everybody knew. Like, even in the midst of a cover up, okay, even in the midst of a cover up, Cloudy Hostin wants to say, it is who? It is Trump's fault. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, the TDS runs deep. How was that? Child, you cannot make this stuff up. You can't make it up. Oh my gosh, you can't make it up. You guys, when I tell you this is wild, this is wild. So with all that being said, I want to do a quick flashback before we get into Miss Megyn Kelly, okay? I want to do a quick flashback of Jake Tapper talking to Kamala and Sleepy Joe, okay? Here we go.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons. Nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of.
Did y'all see a difference? Did we see preemptive pardons? Did we see his son that should have been in jail for being a you know what? Okay. Did you see? Did you see the pardons? Yeah, we saw the pardons. This was 2020. All right. This is Jake Tapper right here talking to the conspirator and the co-conspirator. At the end of the day, these people know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And they think we're dumb. They think we don't know what they're doing. Everybody saw it, even some on the left. All right. That's just the team that they're batting for. But they saw it. You cannot tell me Jake Tapper did not see it. But that's how it is. So I just wanted you guys to, go ahead and see that before we get into Jake Tapper here, because Jake Tapper and Megyn Kelly, child, when I tell you, Megyn Kelly, really, 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 honestly and truly is a gem. Okay. She's a really good journalist. All right. But I want to get into some of these super chats before we get into this last part here. Here we go. Thank you to Classic Codes. All right. For the $2 super chat. Thank you. I'm proud of you, Micca. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Gracias. All right. Hold on. There we go. All right. Now we got $9.99. AR Smitty. Thank you. Was Whoopi always this bitter? Yeah. Whoopi been bitter since she had to give that checkup on Ghost Child. All right. Thank you, AR Smitty. I appreciate it for your $9.99 super chat. Thank you. All right. Next, we have the $5 super chat from Xavier. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Biden was literally on The View struggling to finish his sentences 12 days ago. Tell me about it. He was just like, I'm saying too much. When he did that, I almost died, you guys. When he did that, I almost died. All right. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. So I want to go ahead and get into Miss Megyn Kelly. All right. Megyn Kelly is putting these people to shame. I want you guys to see what she had to say when interviewing Jake Tapper and whoever the bro is, okay, that wrote the book with him, I guess. All right, I want you to see what they had to say, you guys. Here we go.
The criticism has been that you're complaining about a cover-up about Joe Biden's mental acuity that failed, that right-wing pundits saw, the right wing in general saw, that independent media saw and reported on, and that was no mystery even to left-wing and so-called mainstream reporters who were not fooled, but chose willful blindness instead of honest reporting, and that you were part of it. How do you respond?
It's a tough and fair question. I would say that Alex and I, after Election Day, interviewed more than 200 people, 200 mostly Democratic insiders, and almost all of these interviews were after the election. And they justified to themselves what they had done in terms of misrepresenting how the president was, not just to me and Alex and other reporters, but also just to each other and to the world and to Democrats and to the cabinet, et cetera, by saying that there was this existential threat of Donald Trump and only Joe Biden could beat Donald Trump, and that justified everything in their minds. After that existential threat was over, because the election was over and Donald Trump won, we found, Alex and myself, remarkably willing to talk to us, either off the record or on background, or in some cases on the record, about what they saw. One of the things that emerged was that there were two Bidens. One was the fine Biden, serviceable, adequate, and the other one was a non-functioning Biden, and that's the one we saw the night of the debate. And that's the one we saw some clips of here and there that you just showed. And that non-functioning Biden, the one that lost his train of thought in a significant way, not in the way just that every human loses their train of thought, but in a way that shows that he's having trouble articulating his very views. And the one who forgot the name of close aides, who was not able to come up with George Clooney's name, didn't seem to recognize him, all that sort of thing. That non-functioning Biden was, according to our reporting, showed up as far back as 2015, after the death of Beau, where one top aide said that tragedy, the loss of Beau, was like watching somebody pour water on sand. That was the effect on his psyche. And there were other moments, 2017, 2018, you hear her report, one of the reasons he came to that conclusion was because of the recordings they heard of Joe Biden in 2017 talking to his ghostwriter, in which he was similarly inclined. Obviously, in 2019, 2020, there were other moments like that. Most of his campaign staff and others would say, like, he's 78, he's 79, he has senior moments, but he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. Well, he wasn't fine. And throughout his presidency, that non-functioning Biden would show up more and more and more, and he was worse and worse and worse, really deteriorating tremendously the next time there was a really horrible family incident, which was when Hunter Biden's plea deal fell apart in the summer of 2023. And then obviously in June, he was convicted. And the fear of losing his son, not to jail, but maybe to a relapse, to an overdose, to a suicide, who knows, was a very real fear.
All that jazz that man just went through to say absolutely nothing. I had to play the whole thing. I wanted you guys to hear the whole thing because it's absolutely asinine. Like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Okay? Talking about there was a fine Joe Biden. When was there a fine Joe Biden? I don't remember it. You know, I have all my faculties. Yeah. When was Joe Biden fine? And then he just said that the people were saying what Whoopi and company just said. Okay? That, oh, he's 80. Oh, he's 79. My granddad is 79 right now. Okay? Walks to the store by himself. Talks. Perfectly fine. Okay? Text like none other. I don't know who told him to text. But he's fine. Okay? So I'm trying to figure out why do they think we're dumb? Why do they think we're so dumb? All right? But this wasn't even the part that was so damning, you guys. Megyn Kelly did not let up, okay? Now, there was a video that I did a while ago where I noticed that Jake Tapper was coming after, Laura Trump and others. And I put that in a video and I said, this isn't going to age well. And by golly, it didn't, because they were right. They saw it. And all Jake Tapper could do was say, oh, well, he has a stutter. I've never seen Joe Biden stutter. I've never seen it. So I really don't know what he was talking about. However, I'm so glad that Megyn Kelly called it out, because a lot of people have been calling it out on X. So I want you guys to go ahead and see what Megyn Kelly decided that she was going to call out with Jake Tapper, because Jake Tapper just thinks that he can just, I guess, get away with stuff. So here we go.
Apologize to Laura Trump now? Do you want to apologize to Laura Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
And what did she say?
I mean, I don't want to disclose the contents of a private conversation, but I thought the conversation went well. And she said she has said this publicly, so I feel fine sharing it. She said that she would never mock anybody's stutter. But I mean, after we did the research for this book, and I realized how bad his acuity issues were, I called Laura Trump and I said, you were right.
She was totally right. That's the thing, because when I watched that clip, and I'm giving voice to what a lot of people watching the show are feeling, Jake, I feel angry because she was right. And not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position, but she was totally right. And then you lectured her on how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline, which is all she tried to do with you. But you had such a visceral reaction to her. And my feeling is that's because you didn't want to hear it.
No, I'm happy to talk about this. I didn't come here thinking that you weren't going to ask me about this. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
No, I know.
The first time I saw the coverage of Laura Trump's comments, which were interpreted as her mocking Joe Biden's stutter, was in January 2020. I read it in conservative media. I read it in the Daily Mail. And that's where I saw that her comments were being interpreted that way. After those comments were publicized, it got a lot of coverage. And Sully Sullenberger wrote an op-ed in the New York Times criticizing her about this. So that's the context for that, that I was following up on a story that had been out there months before. This is also in the context of October 2020, a very intense time. People on the Biden side are saying crazy things about Trump. People on the Trump side are saying crazy things about Biden, including Don Jr. suggesting that Joe Biden is a pedophile. So that is the larger context. But as
I don't know about y'all, but I second that notion, what Don Jr. said. Okay. If y'all seen the laptop, I mean, the man sniffs little girl's hair. I'm just saying.
I said, her comments have aged well. My comments have aged poorly.
That's a fact.
I own that.
And you're going to keep owning it. That's a fact. That is a fact. Like, Megyn Kelly was not letting up, you guys. Okay? Because at the end of the day, when I tell you that Jake Tapper spent the majority of that interview trying to dance around it, his friend barely, said anything. I don't even know why he came. Maybe he's the lawyer of the group. I don't know. However, Jake Tapper talked, but this is what he was doing the entire time. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. Like, these people are lying. Okay. They're lying. Jake Tapper definitely knew. Okay. You cannot tell me somebody as bright as Jake Tapper did not know. Jake Tapper is very, very, very smart. The man is smart. Okay. I don't like China News Network. Okay. They don't have real news on there, but the man knows how to do journalism when he does it right. Right. Before CNN became all deranged, I've seen him do actual journalism. The man is not dumb. The man is just Trump deranged. And he decided, just like everybody else, to go ahead and say, oh, whatever. I'm just going to say what I want. I'm just going to, play into what I want. And I think just like everybody else, he used that opportunity to say, oh, okay, I have this information. I have, this insider, and I can write a book afterwards. How do you write a book like you're not still sitting on CNN? And like, it's wild. It's so wild. Like, these people know. And this is who they expect us to vote for. This is who they expect us to believe in. You have them fighting with ICE. You have them having districts with 70% crime spikes, bigger than the rest of the daggone city. You have them You have them doing things like lying to the public about the president and what he's actually doing, how he's actually moving around, how he's actually functioning, using auto pen. I don't understand why they would think that this wouldn't be a problem for us. Why they would think that we can just let it slide, move on, nothing to see here. I just don't understand that. And to me, it lets me know that the Democratic Party thinks you're a bunch of idiots. All of you. The Republicans, the Democrats, liberals, progressive, leftists, extremists. It doesn't matter. They think everybody are idiots. And maybe pretty much, the American people have been, because from what Doge has found, that should have not happened. That should have not happened. Like how as a people did we allow that to happen? It's wild. It's wild to me. But I'm glad we have Donald Trump in there correcting this stuff. And, I don't think the Democrats are going to recover anytime soon. And I think the mainstream media is dead. When I say dead, I do mean dead. And Jake Tapper, might as well go ahead and just write books about everybody he knows at this point, because CNN, their network ratings are in the toilet. We already know they're trying to sell off MSDNC 13. So with all that being said, it is the independent media that has been, passing out everything they can on these people. Everything they can find out, everything they can dig up. We go and look up videos. I've seen small channels, the big channels do this. And when I tell you it is with precision that independent media is number one. Independent media is number one. That's why they're all running to do a podcast. That's why Jake Tapper is over here doing books and podcasts. That's why, people that supposedly have big platforms, Stephen A., all of them, that's why they're doing independent media, because they know being corporate, they can't really say what they want to say. And they know a lot. That's why I don't believe Jake Tapper. I don't believe him at all. I think he knows way more than he's probably telling in that book. You can't be 50-something years old, spent over 20 to 30 years in politics and corporate media, and you don't know nothing. Like, you don't know nothing? You don't know nothing. Okay. These people are liars. And at the end of the day, we shall continue to hold them to the fire. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about Jake Tapper over here with the stone face, mad that Megyn Kelly is holding his feet to the fire for lying, like literally lying. All right, let me get to these last couple of super chats, you guys. I have enjoyed our, I'm going to call it a power hour because, man, we went through a lot. Let's see here. Did I get this one? Yeah, I got that one. Okay, here we go. Quentin with the $5 super chat. Micca, go to bed. I don't ever go to bed. Okay. If you guys don't know, Quentin is on another podcast with me called After Hours. We're on with Anton Daniels, and we have a group chat. And when I tell you that me and Quentin always put stuff in the group chat, he never goes to sleep and I never go to sleep. Okay. At like 3 a.m, somebody putting stuff in the group chat. So you shall see me at 3 a.m. again, Quentin. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Here's another one of my nightcap girlies over there at After Hours. Thank you, Molly. The 1999 super chat. Thank you so much. Great journalism, Micca. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know when you came in, Molly, but I found out that your man Ryan Clark has a whole white baby mama, and he was messing with that RG3. Okay. And I feel a certain way about RG3 because he is a former Washington Redskin. And you guys know I'm from DC. So, they were up there messing with RG3 like that. Y'all leave my man alone. He ain't done nothing to nobody. Okay. He done broke his little knee and he been quiet ever since. Damn, even he got a podcast. Look, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Just again, the young lady who I am sending the cup to. I have it already sent out, so you should be receiving it sometime this week. I can't remember offhand, but you should be receiving it sometime this week. Thank you so much again for supporting the platform. And again, thank you to everybody who hit me up on Cash App. I appreciate that as well. You guys, thank you so much for spending an hour or so with me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your super chats. I appreciate everybody who super chatted. Molly, Quentin, Xavier, AR Smitty, Rocks, Classic Coles, Yakar, Mr. Robinson, let me see, Southeast with an F. Everybody who comments, subscribes, thank you. Everybody who keeps the channel going, I am just so grateful and so blessed. We are over 10,300 organically just in a couple of months. I appreciate you guys. And also, you guys, let me know, you can hit me up via email. You can say it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys, want to do. If you want to have, call in days, if you guys want to, who you might want to see from social media. Cause I've been getting a lot of, people wanting to come on and interview and things like that. And so I'm working on a couple of people, but yeah, let me know. And then if you guys see certain things on social media that you want me to cover, let me know. I'm actually going to try to start doing more, reactions as well. So you guys just let me know. We're growing, and I'm growing as a content creator, and I appreciate everybody. All right. I appreciate everybody and everything. You guys, thank you so much. And it's your girl, Micca. I appreciate you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.